What was your shouldn't have watched this movie? Sausage Party, but mostly because it was seen with family. The Hills Have Eyes 2006. Asterisk edited for years. There's something wrong with Aunt Diane. The one victim's relative said it perfectly when she said, paraphrasing here, she could forgive Diane, but her husband she is still working on. Watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind a few weeks after a hugely painful breakup. This is not the way. I read Requiem for a Dream. The movie came out. I said, why would anyone watch this movie? It's horrific, and will give you a bad feeling for a week or so. But, Ellen Burstyn's performance is amazing. You should just watch it. You already know what happens. Me. Very well then, it can't be any worse than the book. The Men Behind the Sun is one of the rare movies that legit disturbed me. That one scene. If you've seen it, then you know. The casualness of it, the suddenness of it, the seeing it coming, but knowing that nothing will happen to stop it. That one scene is the only scene from any movie that still haunts me to this day, 28 years after first seeing the movie. Edit. Also, if you watch this movie, know that the actual events were even worse and more disturbing than the film shows. If you're watching it for the first time, this will not seem possible, but know that reality was much worse and involved hundreds of children. As a kid, Disney's Snow White. I had nightmares about the witch for years. The Ring. Watched it as a kid and had nightmares for years. Had to sleep with the lights on till college, and had sleep paralysis, where every time the girl from the movie would scream next to me. The Road. That movie will crush your soul. It was called Dumplings. I can't remember if it was in a collection of short films, or if it was a whole movie in itself, but it was goddamn traumatic. When I was 13, my dad took me to the movie theater. We started watching the movie The General's Daughter with John Travolta. There is a horrifying rape scene with some super intense cinematography. During that scene I pleaded to my dad to leave. We did. We then bought tickets to The Matrix, which I fucking loved. Hostel. Fucking Hostile. Brave of the Fireflies, a Serbian film. Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was the worst reboot ever made, and I can't stand a minute without physically cringing. The Cell, from around 2000. I watched it in an old theater. It messed me up for a while. Signs. Seen it in theaters. Dropped off my date, and had to drive through country cornfields for half an hour. To this day that movie freaks me out. Cats, except I turned it off within 2 minutes, still regret it. Denzel Washington movie Fallen. Terrified me for years. Hereditary, my parents' homemade sex tape. Finding Nemo, my ass possibly Watership Down. I was too young, and had no idea it wasn't a family animation. Shit scarred me inside, I'm sure. The song still makes me cry. Human Centipede, 50 Shades of Grey. A Dog's Tale. Not a bad movie, quite the opposite in fact, but I cry every single fucking time. Coraline back then. Pan's Labyrinth back then. It's not a kid's movie. When I was 7 years old, my parents wanted to watch The Gremlins. They sent me to bed, and told me I am not allowed to come to the living room, because they wanna watch a scary movie. Of course that made me curious, and I sneaked into the living room. Right as the mutated gremlins attacked the elevator. I was so scared. For weeks I didn't want to use the elevator, and preferred to use the stairs. I learned my lesson, and never sneaked into the living room again. Dragon Ball. Evolution threads for sure. Does 2 girls 1 cup count? The Fly. I watched it as a kid, and recently thought I should watch it again now. It probably wasn't that bad, it was. Midsummer. It's a well-directed and acted film, but the whole film is very unsettling to the point I questioned why I went to watch the film. It's different from standard horror, since there's not really any scare scenes. It's more about bringing a feeling of mental disturbance. I think it does a great job of communicating the feeling of what it's like to have a psychotic episode, or a bad hallucinogenic trip. Deliverance. I did not know the plot. Oh look, 3 buddies going on a camping trip. What could possibly go wrong? Gummo, and then when I turned 21 a friend made me watch Pink Flamingos. I can't remember if I watched Eraserhead. Is that the one where they take a razor blade to an eyeball? 50 Shades of Grey. Freddy got fingered. I like a good train wreck, but Tom Bree owes me an hour and a half of my life back. The Girl Next Door, not the movie about the porn star Cloverfield paradox. The most cruel destruction of a movie universe I've ever seen, on par with Game of Thrones' final season. Unfriended, complete and utter waste of time. I kept thinking it would suddenly get better and surprise me, but it never did. Dear Zachary, if you've seen it, you know. Edit. Not really a spoiler, but there's a part where the documentarian/voiceover gets choked up as he's talking, and it ruins me. Tusk. Weird as fuck. Paranormal Activity 1 and the OG Blair Witch Project gave me sleepless nights. Those two really messed me up, lol. Don't watch Uncut Gems if you have anxiety. The Dark Crystal. I was easily scared by those uncanny valley looking puppets as a kid, and even now they make me feel so uneasy that I kinda enter semi-fight or flight when I see it. The bird puppets were super cool looking. Would have enjoyed the movie so much more if it was just them. Kids Silent Hill 3D. Not because it's scary or anything. Me and my friend both fell asleep at the theater. It's a waste of money, a waste of time, and a waste of a movie. A Cure for Wellness is one messed up movie. Insidious. I'm pretty sure I peed a little. Requiem for a Dream. Mother grandma died. My bro decided to take me to the movies to cheer me up. We went to see Pixar's Coco Bridge to Terabithia the platform. Very disturbing. Open house. This was one of the worst movies I ever had the displeasure of watching. So much build up, and nothing happened. Nothing. We don't get to find out who the killer is for certain. I was so mad that I spent an entire hour and a half watching it. It wasn't even scary, it was just bad. So bad. For as long as I can remember, my grandmother has loved musicals, so I remember being like 3 or 4 and singing and dancing along to a musical and watching it every time I visited, like let's watch the one about the aliens. Which was frequently. When I was like 8, my sister, who was much older, came to grandma's with me and immediately shut it off and forbid me to watch it. Fast forward to when I'm like 18. I found it in a discount bin, and I was like, I haven't seen this in forever, I wanna watch it. I sat there idly by, watching and singing along with horror and nostalgia and a brand new understanding of the movie. It was Rocky Horror Picture Show. I still love the movie, I just can't believe my grandma let me watch it when I was so young. I asked her about it, and she said, oh, you were too little to understand anyway, and you loved the songs. I still think it's so funny, but I definitely won't let my kids watch it until they are older. The Exorcist showed up on network TV when I was about 9 or 10. Somehow my family all gravitated to the color TV in the basement. Watching it with them didn't help at all. I was scared to take the dog out that night, and that fear stuck with me for years afterwards. Okay now, but acknowledge that there's no reason for me to watch it again. Studio Ghibli's Pompoko. I will never look at a raccoon the same way again. Splice. The Road, so depressing. Hereditary. I'm a horror junkie, and I felt like I was making a mistake immediately upon watching. Not a movie, but a show. Unbelievable on Netflix. God, it was absolutely horrible to watch as someone that can relate to that story. Triggered me and made me fall back into the depression pit for weeks. It's my own fault, as I was trying to prove myself I was okay enough to watch a show that dealt with the topic. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That scene, where the clown is outside of the diner coercing the child to come out to be cotton candified, still fucking haunts me. Oh yay, and that they drink the fucking people pods like Slurpees through swirly straws.